Landlords hate letting agents that do everything compliantly and by the book and correctly and accurately in line with all the current regulation, rules, processes and good practices. Why do landlords hate letting agents that do that so much? Now, obviously, I'm not talking about every single landlord, but there are so many complaints that I hear from self-managing landlords and from landlords that are managed by agents. And also I hear the same complaints from agents themselves. The letting agent is doing everything so compliantly that it frustrates the landlord. But why? Well, there are two main reasons, big reasons actually, why landlords get so frustrated when letting agents stick to the rules. Number one, it costs them money. And number two, it takes them time. And those are two really big things. Let me explain a bit more. Yes, being compliant, following the rules, doing everything correctly does cost landlords money. Simple things like gas safety certificates, energy performance certificates, electrical installation condition reports. All of those things cost money, but they have to be done. Deposit registrations and ASTs and finding tenants, referencing tenants, all of the things that you should do as a landlord and all the things that you must do as a landlord inevitably cost money. Now, yes, there are some landlords that want everything for free, hate paying out money for anything, even if they've got to do it. But that frustration is directed at the letting agent, just for doing their jobs, just for keeping the landlord safe and compliant and protected. That's where the frustration is directed. And the other thing is time. It takes time to do certain things by the book. Now, in the old days, if a tenant didn't pay the rent, then the landlord would just kick them out. Find another tenant, move them in, no problems. But you just can't do that anymore. You have to follow very specific processes now in order to evict a tenant. In the same way that rent arrears, there is now a very specific process that you must follow. Very tight rules on chasing rent arrears, what you can and cannot do. Access to the property. If you want to go round to the property, you need to send someone to the property or whatever that may be. Whatever the reason is that you've got to go to the property and the tenant declines access, there are rules you've got to follow. And all of those things take time. It takes a bit longer than it used to evict a tenant. It takes longer to collect rent arrears and to get access to the property compliantly. And all of those things end up in landlord frustration. And all of that frustration is normally directed to the letting agent. I know some landlords that are properly old school landlords that have been landlords for years, and they don't like all this change. They don't like all this new stuff they've got to do. And as a result, they try and stop letting agents from doing it. Well, I don't say stop letting agents from doing it, but they certainly complain about letting agents having to do it. And so I would give you this advice. Letting agents and landlords are the same. They have to follow certain rules. They have to follow certain processes. They have to follow regulations and rules. If they don't, now there is serious trouble. So if your letting agent is really pushing to follow things compliantly, let them do it. Yes, it's going to cost you money, but that's what being a landlord is. You're constantly investing, you're constantly trying to keep yourself and your tenancy and your property compliant, and you have to keep on with that. And hopefully, if you've done this well and you've bought correctly and you've managed your expenditure well and you're doing everything the right way, then you're still profitable because you've allowed a certain amount of money from the rent each month to cover compliance, to cover maintenance, to cover things that go wrong. And you're not just running month by month, winging it. That's the worst thing you can do. You've got to pre-plan, you've got to pre-prepare and protect yourself financially, as well as by insurances and certain things in place that protect you 360 degrees. Anyway, hopefully this has been either entertaining or of use to you. If you want some help managing your own lettings property, you've been self-managing yourself and you want to pass it to a letting agent to take full management of for you, please let me know. I've got a letting agent down on the South Coast. My email address is tom@soanegroup.co.uk. I'd love to work with all landlords in the proper, compliant and correct management of their properties, their tenants and their tenancies. Speak soon.